All right, I'm going to call this afternoon's PPRTA meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. And I want to first check with Jess and Rick to see if we have a quorum. And we do. I see we do.
Yes, we do.
Online, we have several members online and in around the table. So with that said, we'll move to approval. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. Make a motion. I ask for a motion for approval of the agenda.
Yolanda, move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Yolanda. And
You're welcome.
also Lohinas. So we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? I hear none. The agenda is approved. Item number 3, public comment period for items not on the agenda. And just to remind everyone, for the public, you can email your questions in or be able to speak. And I'll check with Jess right now to see if we have anybody online for public comments. No, and anyone in the audience for public comments? I see no one. So we will move forward with item number 4, approval of the minutes from the February 2022 meeting. First, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Yolanda, move to approve. You could go ahead. I'll second it.
February 2.
All right, so Calhoun has the motion and Yolanda has the
Second. Thank you.
Up for discussion. Is there anything in the minutes that we need to change? Anybody out there? All right, I see none. I hear none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? I hear none. The minutes from our February meeting are approved. All right. Item number 5, our Citizen Advisory Committee monthly report. And I think Jim is online for that. Jim, over to you.
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much. Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC. Good afternoon, members of the board. So I'd like to just to briefly go over our minutes from, hold on, I hit the wrong button, sorry. Of our meeting last week. So the city of Colorado Springs presented 9 contracts, and we recommend approval of those contracts as presented by the city. The same with El Paso County, presented 8. A lot of these contracts are routine, either maintenance or material supply things for the upcoming year. No issues with any of the city or the county's contracts. Same for the PPRTA contracts for engineering cost estimates on PPRTA 3 capital projects. Where the city presented an extra or an additional contract, and we recommend approval for that as well. Everything else is pretty much routine. Last month, the board asked us to review the recommendation by the CAC on the CAC membership, and particularly around the members, the at-large alternates, and the number of representatives for from Manitou Springs. And so we item number 10 on our agenda item there on our report, long discussion, discussed a lot of information, the additional information from Green Mountain Falls, and so the vote by the CAC was a 7 to 6 to 1, with a modified option 1 on the matrix that you were shown last month. And that recommendation is leaving Manitou at 1 but changing or leaving the at-large alternates at 4 instead of increasing them to 6. The point was made during the discussion about increasing the at-large alternates doesn't do a lot, but it also, when we have volunteers that are spending time reviewing the material and preparing and arranging to get off work and come to the meetings, we've got such good attendance have had such good attendance that there are oftentimes the at-large alternates do not get to vote. And so by increasing the at-large alternates from 4 to 6 really doesn't do much other than take up time, and people may or may not ever get to vote. And so the decision after discussing was to leave the at-large alternates at 4, and the alternate that you saw on and leaving Manitou Springs at 1 versus 2. And then the 7 to 6 to 1 vote, there was 1 abstention. A member of Manitou, a member of Green Mountain Falls didn't feel like that because they were from there and the discussion centered around a change in Green Mountain Falls position, they didn't feel like that they should vote. So that was the 1 extension, but it was 7-6 to 1. Be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions online for Jim? I think I'll bring this up right now, and Jennifer, Andy, and Rick's out of the room. This is going to be a further discussion, item 9A, 9 alpha. That's what I remember, correct? Is that, yeah. So we'll do that. So we'll bring this specific issue up, item 9A. I know it's 9A is worded a little differently. It's not just count in, so. All right. Thank you, Jim. I don't see any questions online. Does anybody have a hand up or anything like that? I don't see it, so.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to so we got to accept the committee report. So I'm looking for a motion for item 5, the CAC monthly report.
Move to
approve.
accept.
Okay, we have a move to accept from Director Gonzalez.
Dennis Carpenter, I'll second that.
We got the Mayor Carpenter from a second. Any discussion? I hear none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. The motion has passed. So the CAC report is accepted. Moving on to item number 6, monthly financial reports. Welcome, Beth.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
We just received the sales and use tax figure of $10,756,000 for January 2022. So we're over the monthly budget by $537,000 or 5.3%. So then on the second page, we're ahead or over last January by $758,000 almost, or 7.6%. So we are still doing quite well. Are there any questions?
Do I see a question online or not? It's just the box highlighted. No one online? Around the table? I don't see any. And so it's just for information only. So yeah, we are. We really
Keep
are.
it going.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Hey, we're moving along. So next item 7A, 2022 capital maintenance and public transportation contracts. We'll start with the City of Colorado Springs.
Hello, Mr. Chair, Gail Sturdivant, City Engineer, Deputy Public Works Director for the City of Colorado Springs. The
Thank you.
city is bringing 9 contracts for the board's consideration today. The first contract is for the Wooten Road over Sand Creek Bridge Replacement Project. This project is primarily funded by HUTF or Highway User Trust Fund monies, with some monies being provided or we're asking to be provided for PPRTA Emergency Bridge Fund. The total contract, it will be for $1,705,971.25, of which we're asking PPRTA to help cover $505,971.25. And of that amount, we are actually anticipating Colorado Springs Utilities to reimburse PPRTA in the amount of $372,000. There is a location map for this bridge project located in your packet. Most importantly, I will mention we went for an invitation for bid for this project. We did receive 6 bids. They were all very tightly clustered, but those bids ranged between 25.4 to 36.1% over the engineer's estimate. But we are still recommending moving forward with awarding that contract to Blue Ridge Construction for that work. Any questions on that particular contract? All right.
Yeah, I don't see any online.
Okay, I'll move on to this city's second contract. It's for the Pikes Peak Greenway Trail. As we've discussed before, we do have that under construction. It's between the Cottonwood Creek and Monument Creek confluence down to Rock Rimmon. That work we've discussed previously when we did the construction contract, had a construction start delay. I was originally anticipated to start in April of 21 and got delayed till April of October of 21 due to Provost Meadow Jumping Mouse habitat protection. But as we went through that delay, one of a couple things happened. There was some additional grant money that Parks Department was able to attain and was able to perform some additional work. So with the time delay and with the additional work, it just caused a need for us to issue a change order for the Parks Department's construction management firm, which is Felsberg, Holt and Oliveg, or FHU, in the amount of $71,622. And that amount is anticipated to cover the additional construction management costs. A lot of additional public engagement, which was required with the delay, and a lot of notifications that needed to go along with that, and material testing for that extra work. Any questions for that particular contract?
I don't see any online.
All right.
I would like to welcome Gail, just a moment. 2 things. One, I think Wayne Williams is now with us up online. The other thing is the reason I'm chairing this today, and Holly's not well today, so she asked me to chair the meeting, and I just said, sure, absolutely, no problem. So I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. The city's third contract is for the Union Boulevard and Highway 24 intersection improvements. This is a maintenance contract we were asked to be awarded mostly on Union Boulevard, but it does interact with that ramp that comes up US 24. It's for a hazard elimination activity, really signalizing that intersection and providing some pedestrian improvements that need to go along in that area. CDOT is contributing $275,000 for their quarter of the signal installation in that area. With the bulk being, we're asking that PPRTA approve $1,156,977.40 out of the traffic signal safety, traffic maintenance dollars. We did receive 3 bids, and like the Wheaton Road Bridge, the bids were much higher than our engineer's estimate, and they actually ranged between 47.2 to 66.6% above the estimate. There is a location map included in your packet, and we are still recommending award of that construction work to Pyramid Construction. Questions on that item?
Don't see any.
Okay. Please holler I'll just keep going. And
bet.
if you guys have some, I
bet.
will be stopped and happy to answer. The next 2 contracts are actually going to be for Centennial Boulevard. The first one is going to be for MVS to cover some voluntary cleanup work that happened. Those of you who may or may not be familiar with, there was an agreement associated with the Centennial Boulevard Extension Project, where one of the property owners in the area, MBS, had some environmental cleanup work that they were required to do, and we entered into an agreement with the city. The city did come in and ask them as they were going through and doing that work, and there was a lot of earthwork associated with that they go ahead and do some basically rough grading for the roadway extension project where they were out there doing that effort, and they have done so. But in the environmental cleanup portion of that contract, there is a term, and I've shown the excerpt in the contract form here for your consideration, that should they encounter any unforeseen environmental conditions that require them to deal with them, that we would cover the additional costs associated with that. In their recent efforts, they did uncover a water line that had asbestos that did require specialized removal and disposal. So in accordance with that contract, we would like to be able to reimburse them for that cost in the amount of $15,581.65 to BMS.
Okay.
All right, the next contract also for Centennial Boulevard. This, again, with that roadway extension process, we've discussed in the past that Colorado Springs Utilities was installing an 8-inch water line. And I think we discussed that actually a lot this time last year when we did the initial construction contract. As Colorado Springs Utilities has gone through and done additional water modeling, they've identified that this would be fortuitous for them to come through and upgrade that even further and go from an 8-inch water line to a 20-inch water line. In doing so, utilities is paying for 100% of the total cost for that betterment. But since this is a contract through PPRTA and we help them out, get them along through this, we are asking for awarding a contract to SEMA Construction for the $2,300 of water line upgrade in the amount of $1,281,926.84. It is important to note that Colorado Springs Utilities will be reimbursing us entirely for that cost. And thus far, they have already reimbursed us for over $1.1 million of that work.
That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. All right. All right, I'm going to cluster the next three together as well. Number 6, 7, and 8. These are maintenance crack seal contracts. You have seen these before. They were originally brought to you in change orders, and we're actually changing our contract terms from a change order to a task order, really to help do better business with our construction contractors in this case. And it really has to do with the bonding. If we did it as a change order, the amount that these contracts would have to bond would be aggregate over the life of this 5-year contract. Changing it to a task order allows us to reset the bonding on an annual basis based on the work that they actually perform for us. Those 3 contracts, or I'm sorry, task orders would go to A1 chip seal for $1.25 million, Elite Surface Infrastructure for $500,000, and Seal Coat Solutions for $750,000. Any questions on those contract changes? All right, and the last one is also for maintenance work. This is for thermoplastic or striping materials. The city went out through an RFP process, and we did receive 2 proposals for the thermomastic striping materials. We are proposing that we award this essentially on-call task order contract with Enos Flint for materials up to a $200,000 level based on our need and appropriations. Any questions associated with any of those contracts?
I don't see any. So I asked for a motion to approve the Colorado Springs contracts.
Yolanda, move to approve.
Thank you, Yolanda.
This
I
Wayne,
shall second
second.
Okay, I think I heard Director Williams for the second. Any further discussion? I hear or see none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? I hear none.
Thank you very much.
Motion as approved. Thank you, Gail. Jennifer. Up next, 7B, El Paso County.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Board of Directors, Jennifer Irvin, County Engineer. Today we have 8 contracts for your consideration. All of these contracts are related to our 2022 maintenance program. And just wanted to let you know that we do have been working on our maintenance lists, and we'll be presenting them for approval to our Board of County Commissioners late in March or early April. We always have a specific list, a defined list that is approved by our Board of County Commissioners. As for the contracts, the first contract is our 2022 concrete contract. We are looking to, at a second renewal of the 2020 contract with Ogilnick Enterprises for the amount of $5.5 million. The second contract is with Martin Marietta Materials, and this is our asphalt overlay program. And this is for not to exceed amount of $7.5 million. This is the second renewal of a 2020 contract. The third contract is a crack seal contract with American Pavement Solutions. This is a first renewal of a 2021 contract in the amount of $1.86 million. The fourth item is our 2022 cover coat aggregate chip seal contract. And this is actually for the chips that we use for our chip seal program. This is the second renewal of a 2020 contract with Schmidt Construction Company in the amount of $500,000. The fifth item is our 2022 aggregate maintenance materials. And this is a purchase order for materials for our highway division to do our graveling program. And this is for $80,000. We award that to $0 contracts to several different contractors, as you see here. Martin Marietta, Pioneer Landscape, Schmidt Construction, TZAC, and Green Dream International. We do that because when we order those materials, we order them as relationship to the closest road, and then also the best hauling costs, and then also the most appropriate materials that the supplier can provide for each of those roads. And then the sixth contract is for our 2022 asphalt paving material. And this is really used for our patching and pothole program. This is materials that our highway division uses to maintain our roads for $200,000 with Kiewit Infrastructure and Martin Marietta. Similarly, we use different vendors based upon location, and then also sometimes their plants close. We want to make sure we have two vendors at all time, a vendor at all times available. This is a 2018 contract, and this is our fourth and final option for that contract. The seventh contract is our crack seal material contract. Again, this is a purchase order for materials for our highway division to do crack seal maintenance for $60,000. This is with Maxwell Products. This is a new vendor for us. Our previous vendors ceased business operations. And so what we've done here is we've piggybacked off a CDOT contract that gave us really great prices. And then finally, our eighth contract is for emulsified asphalt. It's really the oil that is used for chip seal for our 2022 chip seal program. And this is a purchase order for $1 million. And this is with Suncor. Again, this contract is piggybacked off a CDOT contract. We get great prices because of the bulk that CDOT purchases. So we're able to get good prices. And I'm happy to answer any questions in regards to any of those contracts.
All right, I don't see any questions online, any around the table. All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve El Paso County contracts.
Move to approve.
Director Gonzalez,
This is Carrie Geithner, second.
Director Geithner has a second. So further discussion? We have a motion and a second. I see none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. The motion has passed.
Thank you to the Board of Directors.
Thank you, Jennifer. And now we'll move on. Okay, move on to 7 Charlie, PPRTA contracts, for engineering cost estimates. And that would be Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
As you're aware, the board has set aside a little over $1 million of PPRTA admin funds for the member governments to use for hiring through the PPRTA, hiring engineering firms to do cost estimates for the PPRTA 3 capital project list. Last month, the board approved 3 contracts for city capital projects and 1 for the county. The city is requesting 1 additional and that came through me. It's Basis Partners for $59,882 to do the cost estimating on 4 replacement bridges, which are tentatively on the city's capital list for PPRT 3. So I'm recommending that the board approve a motion approving the contract with Basis Partners for $59,882 for 4 bridge replacement projects that are on the PPRTA 3 capital list.
All right, thank you, Rick. Any questions to Rick on these particular contracts? I see none around the room. I do not see any online. Therefore, I'll ask for a motion to approve those contracts.
Yolanda, move to approve.
Thank you, Director Avila. Looking for a second.
I'll second.
All right, Nancy, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I see here none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. That motion has passed. Thank you, Rick. All right, that completes item 7. Moving on to item 8. Other reports, City of Colorado Springs Transit Services monthly update. Craig.
Well, good afternoon, board members. I'm Craig Blewett, Transit Services Manager with the City of Colorado Springs. Our report is in your packet. I'd just like to go over a few of the key points. So at our local bus service, our ridership in January of 22 compared to 2021 is down 7.8%. I'd like to chat about that a little bit for a moment. We've had to cut back our service quite a bit, and I've been giving you updates in terms of our driver shortage situation and our efforts to recruit more drivers and have more drivers to restore service. We had some success recently. We were able to restore service on 5 routes over this past weekend and this week, which we're very happy about. So as additional drivers are coming out of training, we're putting them into service. So we restored Saturday service on routes 6 and 8 that were canceled back on August 21st. We restored weekday service on routes 35 and 38. 38 serves the Northern Hospitals, Memorial Hospital and Children's Hospital, and also Sunday service on Route 22. So we're adding service back as soon as we're able, and we're prioritizing coverage over frequency. So if we have an opportunity to restore a route, we'll do that before we add frequency on a route that's already running to provide access to as many people as we can to our service. So that's on the local fixed route service. Our ADA paratransit service ridership has been steadily coming back. So we had an increase of 38% in January this year compared to January of last. So that is a good sign. The taxi ridership had been going up, and we had a setback this past month. So we'll see if that trend continues. And then also wanted to talk about our spring service changes under project. So the proposed spring service changes are out for public comment right now. We're taking comments through tomorrow. And as I've advised before, it's looking at splitting up Route 23 to 2 routes and increasing frequency on the northern half of that. And also running regular service on 3 holidays, which is good, regular service for that day. So both of those are expansions of service. So we think they'll be well received by the public. So we're expecting those to go through, but we'll see what the public has to say. And then finally, also in the report, there's a little bit on our new downtown multimodal transit center and mixed use project. And I'd just like to maybe comment on that briefly today, and then come back as more extensive report next month or in May. So this was a monumental achievement. As you know, we've been working on a new downtown transit center for some time. And this is an exciting public-private partnership working with Norwood Development Group and the City Parking Enterprise to develop a mixed-use project in the downtown that includes our multimodal transportation and transit center. So it's located, we have a graphic showing where it's located, but it's between core of downtown between Nevada and Weber on the north side of Pikes Peak Avenue. There's currently a surface parking lot there. And so we have an agreement between the different parties to do some design work, due diligence, do some environmental analysis, and get that project ready to go forward. So we're real excited about that. And we do want to talk a little bit more about that in terms of why that's important to transit, as well as an important project for downtown. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions online? For Craig? I don't see any around the table. I don't see any around the table.
Well, very well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, 8 Bravo. Colorado Springs monthly change order and property acquisition report.
Mr. Chair, Gail Sturdivant, City Engineer, Deputy Public Works Director for City of Colorado Springs. The change order log and our real estate acquisition log are available in your packets, and I would be happy to answer questions should you have some.
Okay. Any questions for Gail on the change orders? Again, I don't see any online. I don't see any around the table. Thank you, Gail. All right, 8 Charlie, quarterly report from member governments. Rick.
These are the quarterly reports for the fourth quarter of 2021 submitted by the 5 member governments at this point, showing their accomplishments during the quarter, capital and maintenance. I'll be glad to take any questions. It's just information only.
Correct. Any questions out online? I don't see any. Around the table, I don't see any. All right, that takes care of item 8. All right, we're moving along well. Moving to item 9, administrative action and reports 9A, which we mentioned earlier. Revision to the CAC bylaws. So it's not only to, yes, Rick, go ahead.
The board and the CAC have been reviewing the composition of the CAC in keeping with the revision to the composition of the board. The board has initiated discussions and asked for CAC input on the recomposition of the CAC membership, particularly regarding the smaller entities. CTAB over at the city has offered an option. The county's Highway Advisory Commission has offered an option. CAC Chair Jim Godfrey has offered an option. We've received feedback from the member governments, and then most recently, the CAC voted on this issue at their meeting last Wednesday, and that vote was 7 in favor of a modified option 1, which would reduce Manitou from 2 to 1 CAC members, Rama from 2 to 1, Green Mountain Falls from 2 to 1, and Calhan would be at 1. 5 at large regular, as is currently the composition on that particular line. And then the CAC also by a vote of 7 to 6 to 1 approved 4 alternate at-large alternates, which is the current number. So as I say, the CAC vote was close. It was 7 to 6 to 1, 1 abstention. Jim Godfrey covered this in his overview of the CAC meeting last week. So I'll leave it at that and turn it back to the chair for discussion.
So is it my understanding do we want to vote on this today, or do we want to have a discussion today and carry it forward to the next meeting for action?
I'd say that's totally up to the board. I did not have a revised option or several, because there's, potentially 4, 5, or 6 options here. I did not have a draft set of revised bylaws for approval because I'd have to have, 4, 5, or 6 versions. So my suggestion is at least have a discussion, if not have a decision. And then if there is a decision at this meeting, I can have the actual revised wording of the CAC bylaws at the next meeting.
I'll make the first comment here. It's my understanding, and Nancy, you can verify this. I think the mayor of Manitou Springs wanted to keep 2.
That's correct. We believe that we've got good candidate or good representation, and that we, even though we're a small entity, we have an outsized transportation issue in Manitou.
Okay. That would fit of the 3 options, that would be the middle one, according to the document I'm looking at here, from where it has 2 for Manitou
Yes.
Springs. All right, let's go around the table and online. Oh, Mary Newberry, please. I did not see you. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Great. I'm working off the iPad, which has its own special challenges.
Yes.
I wanted to speak for Green Mountain Falls. What we discussed at our meeting wasn't an objection to Manitou having 2 representatives. At the end of the day, it was more a discussion of if they had 2, could we add 1 to the at large, just so that it becomes still an odd number of 21 instead of 20. We do understand that Manitou does have its own special problems with transportation and also contributes more on taxes. We did have a lively discussion about do more taxes warrant more representation. But at the end of the day, we weren't objecting to them having 2. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Good point. So what I'm hearing, Mayor, is that you would recommend keeping Manitou Springs at 2, but adding an additional at large, it would go from 5 to 6 at large.
Just so that, again, it's 21. Not that we've had a lot of trouble with ties, but there's always that good odd number.
Okay, that's thrown out there. More discussion, online discussion. I'm hearing. Wayne,
Randy?
I can't see your hand from here, Wayne. Sorry. Go ahead, speak up.
No, that's fine. I do think in a lot of bodies, having an odd number is a good thing. And so I would, just to get things moving along, move approval of Chair Godfrey's option as it's described on there, but with the additional 1 additional at-large position for a
Right,
total number.
6 versus 5 at large
Correct.
for a total of 21 votes.
Correct, sir.
All right, thank you. So I'm sorry, did you make a motion for that? Is that what I heard?
I did. We'll see if anyone else will second.
Okay, I will second that. I absolutely will second that.
Beat me to the punch.
I'm sorry.
Right,
Yeah, I know
thank you.
Nancy would say. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a discussion. Any further discussion? Rick?
Just wanted to clarify that since there's 2 lines for at-large, is at-large regular, which means they are a standing voting member, and then the at-large alternate. So
Yeah. It is
Yes.
to
regular.
clarify the motion, it's an at-large regular so that you have 21 voting members.
And thank you for making that clear there, Rick. Appreciate that. Any further discussion? Oh, this might be easier than I thought. Okay, let's go for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Oh, wow, we have none. So the motion passes as stated with the Chairman Godfrey's amended to have a total of 21 votes with 6 at-large regulars versus 5.
I just want to say I had a spreadsheet ready to do the new math on voting for a split vote. So this was very disappointing.
All right. Okay, that's wow, that's 9 alpha is completed. And so we move on to 9B, legislative report from Dan. Is Dan online?
Yep, right here. Thank you.
All right.
Good to see
Welcome.
everybody. I know that the pressing topic is House Bill 22-1062, the exemption of expanding the sales and use tax exemption for food. I was in committee finance last week. Amendment, they tried to get on for us. They got on, but it wasn't written quite correctly to exempt us out the way we needed to be exempted out. I resent them Jennifer's language. I was in the minority office this morning at 8:15 with the policy person, and we walked Jennifer's language down to the drafter, which is accepted and will go in the bill if it passes. But they took the last, we just walked it down to the drafter this morning, so there could be no mistakes this time. It is up for action only. It's not calendared yet. I can tell you, I sat in the whole committee. It was a fairly short committee meeting. It was really more questions for the sponsors. But I did count seven no votes and 4 yes votes. So the bill's going to have tough sledding to get out. I think, honestly, the committee's trying to figure out how they can kill the bill without making it an election or a campaign piece that they
Oh, really?
missed an
Politics is
opportunity.
playing?
What's that?
Oh, really? Politics is playing in this?
Yeah, just a little bit. So I think there's just a little gamesmanship, but it should die in this committee. If not, our amendment with Jennifer's language, like I said, was walked down to the drafter by the new policy person in the House Minority Office this morning. We're fine there. I've also circled back, if by some miracle, which it won't, but if by some miracle it gets out of the House, the Senate bill sponsors ready to amend the bill anyway. We need to amend it as well. So I feel like we're in pretty good shape either way, but I think sometime next week when this goes back for action only, it will probably be put to rest. Saving us $15 million.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Dan. We
Yep.
appreciate that update. Any questions for Dan around the table or online? I heard the word good job, Dan. All right. I don't see any online. Any questions online? None around the table. All right. So it says approve. I don't think we really have anything there to approve. do
That's
we?
just optional in
Yeah.
case you wanted to take, a recommendation to oppose it or to support it, or it's just an option.
Okay.
And I think with the bill sponsors, they're very friendly to us. They've been working really hard. I think just staying at an amend position and then letting it die under its own weight is the way to go, because the bill sponsors could not have been more compassionate to our case and working with us on this. So I really don't want to poke them in the eye.
Yeah.
Would be
I
my
agree.
recommendation to the board.
Yes. Is there anyone that has a different opinion than that? I don't see any. Okay, yeah. All right, I don't think we'll take a vote on that unless somebody thinks we should. All right, that completes item 9. Item 10, PPRTA member announcements. So we'll go online first this time and start out. I think Director Geithner, are you still up?
I am here, but I do not have any announcements.
All right. Director Avila, do you have anything you want to add
I
today?
do, Randy. I mean, Chair, Vice Chair. Our offices
all right,
are right
Yolanda.
next to each other.
Randy's perfect.
We're bros.
Yes.
Anyway, I announced this at PPACG, but I'm really excited to announce that my mom has been recognized as a woman that's had a really good history here in Colorado Springs. It's Women History Month.
Yes.
And at the Pioneers Museum on Saturday, there's going to be an event honoring all 12 women that have been selected for this honor. And Leah Wither will talk about, each of the women and their history. So it's going to be exciting. And if anybody has a chance to go to Pikes Peak Avenue between Cascade and Nevada, well, actually, my mom is between Cascade and Tejon, right in the middle part. But I would go check out all these women and see how much they brought to the city and county. And so that's my announcement.
I'm really happy you brought that up. Congratulations to your
Thank
mother.
you.
I know she's looking down, and I know she's thankful for that recognition. And so with that said, Mayor Newberry, any further comments?
Nothing further, just struggling with the iPad.
iPad, yes, got it. All right, Director Williams.
Yeah, all is, we're excited for, maybe all this wonderful moisture that we're getting in our community, but drive safe. Have a great day.
All right. Who else is online from a board perspective? Oh, wow, that's good. I like that. Jess, thanks. Even for my bad eyes, that I'm looking, I don't see any more board members. Am I missing someone online that's a board member? If not, we'll go around the table. We'll start with Director Gonzalez.
Nothing, thank you.
All right, Mayor Carpenter.
Nothing at this time. Everything is rosy.
Yeah, Roland.
I just I'm wondering how the sunshine is on top of Wayne Williams' head and snowing over here.
That's because he's at the Air Force Academy,
Oh, okay,
where the sun shines every day and night. That's right.
Okay,
That's
I
why.
have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Rick. Oh, Nancy, let's get Nancy.
I have nothing except thank you for a short meeting.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that here in a minute, but Rick.
At the April meeting, I'm going to submit a memo proposing steps and a timetable for the PPRTA 3 ballot measure steps over the spring, summer, and fall. And just to preview that with you in draft, April, Jennifer Ivey, your attorney, will request an executive session to go over some issues. May is when I will request the member government staffs to submit their first draft capital list that can be revised in June and July and even August, because August would be the final ballot measure approval by this board. July is when you have to authorize me as your designated election official to, unless you choose someone else to be your designated election official, but I was 10 years ago. So, but July is the deadline to notify the clerk and recorder that the board intends to have a ballot measure in November. So those are the major steps with the capital list being being modifiable over May, June, July, and August. But we'd like to see the first draft of the list from each of the member governments in May.
Thank you, Rick. That leads me to two things real quick. Gail, can the city of Colorado Springs meet those requirements based upon what we heard 2 days ago in the work session?
Yes, absolutely. Gail Sturdivant, City of Colorado Springs. So the answer is yes. In fact, my add to that was going to be that we brought the first draft of the list to our city council for an informal endorsement on Monday. Continue to working on fiscal constraints for that list and doing some minor modification and regional collaboration with our other member government partners. So we see that as definitely being a reasonable schedule. The one thing I just ask that be kept in mind, because I know at least for the city of Colorado Springs, and I would assume something similar would apply to our other member governments, that we would still like an endorsement from our city council on that proposed ballot language. And that does take time to get in front of that city council. So I just ask that gets considered in the overall schedule. And I would defer to the other member governments to say if they had timing needs for that as well.
Randy, can I
Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
So I actually think we ought to set as a goal referring it in July. And I think when I look back on other issues that feel kind of rushed, ballots go out in September to our UACAVA voters. And so you really don't have much time if we wait all the way until the statutory deadline. And my preference would be July so that people who are potentially involved in working on the ballot issue have time with the final ballot language to prepare materials so that people are informed accurately. I just think you cut it really close if you wait till the very last minute that's legally allowed. So I prefer we refer it at our July board meeting. That also gives us some leeway if something comes up. But I think we've been working on this for a year and a half or more. So that's my input.
All right. Does anyone have any other board members have any objection to the month of July that Wayne brought up? I don't see any objection. So yes, I think that's the direction we're going to give you, Rick, to move forward in that. And Jennifer. So one last real quick piece on this whole issue of the November election for the renewal of PPRTA. We are getting, and I know I have, and I know Wayne has, and others have. We've been asked to comment in the media on the renewal of PPRTA, and we're able to do that with some large talking points. And so what I think is good, and we had this discussion earlier today about having some major talking points, marketing or talking points or whatever you want to call them, so that each and every one of us, board members, and as Jim Godfrey mentioned, the CAC members, to be able to, when they're asked questions, they can answer them. So I think as I heard from our lunchtime meeting, that we're going to be able to provide that. Is that correct? I'm getting ahead. So for everybody out there, we're going to try to produce some, I'll use the term talking points, to help everyone who might be in a position to be asked questions about the upcoming election renewal of PPRTA. All right, that's all of my comments. Do we have any further before we end this? Am I going to set a record here? So
no.
No, oh, that was too quick. All right, so with that said, I bring this PPRTA meeting, I adjourn. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the snow.
Thank you, everyone from the state of Virginia.
Yeah.